All right, we back on sports. And you know, it's been a bad week, a bad 2 weeks for sports, at least here locally. It's all fucked up now. It's just bad, horrible, hatred. I don't get it. It's just bad. The things you're going to see this week, I don't get it. I really don't. But before I get started on the pro sports of things and the embarrassing things that you will see this week in sports, let me say this right now, that we need to start local. And when I mean local, I don't mean pro, I mean actual local for some things that are getting ready to happen. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, on July 16th, the Flyers, that's right, Philadelphia Flyers have now had, as we know before, they had their runs, their little 5K runs or whatever. Now they're rebranding it, and they're having a Flyers Classic. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, it'll be a 5K run / walk, all right? A 10K, family bike ride. Then there's a 50K bike ride, and then a 100K bike ride. So as you can see, they're going to have a lot of goodies with this. Apparently, there's going to be a fan appreciation party after the bike ride or the run or whatever you choose to do. Medals, of course, and all that types of stuff. So yeah, should be a good day. It is going to be in July, so it's going to be kind of hot. I'm still going to do it, just to see what it's all about. You know what I mean? I've done the other Flyers 5K before. I didn't do it, this last year. But this year, I'm looking forward to it, especially since they've expanded it more and it's going to be bigger. So I can only imagine what they're going to, how can I put this? What they're contemplating on actually organizing how this is going to go. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. However, I do need to move on, and we need to talk about Philadelphia Phillies. That's right. Now, the Philadelphia Phillies, they're as bad as I thought they would be. Okay? But that's not the problem. Okay, the Phillies have shown, heart here and there. They've shown that they can go on hitting surges here and there. It's not much the hitting I have a problem with, as it is the pitching. First off, Clay Buchholz. Let's talk about this. Now, of course, now the excuse is, my arm is hurting, I need surgery. I don't want to hear it, all right? In the offseason, when we got Clay Buchholz, do you understand that this guy already, in the offseason, before coming to the Phillies, had a 7 ERA pitching? You understand it, right? So it doesn't matter if he was healthy or not. That's what you're going to get out of Clay Buchholz. Clay Buchholz hasn't been as good. He hasn't been good for a while now. If you look back, you look at his stats throughout the years, okay? Hasn't been good. So I'm not surprised that he blew that game so badly, then they pull him out, and he said, I'm hurt. And they said, he may be out for the season now. I don't care, all right? The Phillies bullpen is also a problem, and it needs to be addressed. It's almost as bad as the Nationals bullpen, as far as I'm concerned. Matter of fact, let's talk about the Nationals real quick, because now we got Philly writers talking about how Bryce Harper would be a good fit in Philadelphia. Get shot. Get completely shot. Okay, look, when you sit here and say that it's easy for Bryce Harper to call Philadelphia home. Yeah, he hits a lot of home runs here. Guess what? A lot of people do, because Citizens Bank Park is a hitter's park. That's why. So it doesn't matter if, he feels, this could be his second home or whatever. Look, as far as I'm concerned, if you listen to Phillies fans, they want Mike Trout. But I don't see you say anything about that. Nope, not at all. Yeah, but there's more news coming out of Washington. And I'll put it like this. Like I said, the Phillies, they look really bad. However, I will say the games seem to be somewhat enjoyable to a point now where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to the game and at least enjoy myself, regardless of what happens. You know what I mean? Because some of these players are trying. They are. Not everyone. We can really look at that pitching staff. Like I said, you can look at that bullpen. But, like I said, there's some players who are trying. So if you're going to go, you go with your friends, you have your beer, or you go with your family and enjoy yourself, or, take in the festivities. I feel as though that's the best way to go about it if you're going to actually go and support the Phillies this year. Because they're not a contender. They're not. We all know that. All right? But let's move on. Since we were just talking about Washington and the Nationals, it's time to look at another Washington team. That's right. We're going to move on to the NFL. That's right. Because for those who don't know, the Washington Redskins, fans, we need to have this talk. Apparently, you don't have that many loyal fans in your fan base, especially when you have die-hard Washington Redskins fans now saying that they're leaving the Redskins fan base to pledge their allegiance to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm sure Redskins fans will tell you exactly what I'm getting ready to tell you. Get fucked. fuck off as far as I'm concerned. That is absolutely ridiculous. Cowboys have a good season, get bounced in the first round of playoffs. Oh, we done boys. Here we go. I'm going to leave the Redskins and go to the Cowboys. Fuck off. And then you wonder why. We always have these arguments about who's fair weather fans and who's not. Good example right there. Good example. Okay? But let's move on, shall we? Because in more NFL news, as you know, Aaron Hernandez, or Aaron Hernandez, as you know, has killed himself. Now, a lot of things have been saying about Aaron Hernandez. Some people say good, he deserved it after what he did to other people. As you know, just not too long ago, he was found not guilty of one of the three murders he was being charged with. As we know, he was still going to get life in jail. We also heard reports that Aaron Hernandez was pretty much chilling in jail. He was the guy. He was good. He was just hanging back, chilling. So now all of a sudden you're found not guilty of one of the three murders and you kill yourself? Something's not adding up. Or at least that's what a lot of people are saying. Now there are reports coming out that this was an inside job. That, the POs did this. Or should I say the COs? I should say police officers, the correctional officers. That they did this. Or maybe somebody put the hit out on him, that was in jail in general. Or maybe it came from the outside. Either way, right now, it's a lot of conspiracy theory talk. It is. But if Aaron Hernandez did kill himself, well then, alright, he killed himself. Alright, whatever. Even if he was murdered, whatever. Alright? He tried to live that type of life that he didn't need to, let's be honest here, he didn't need to, to have. He didn't need to lead that life due to the fact that, look at what you were doing. You're making millions upon millions upon millions of dollars and you threw that shit all away simply because of the gangster life. That's what you wanted to be. You wanted to be the gangster. You wanted to be making it very known that you couldn't be fucked with, right? When you're a football player making millions and millions of dollars. Because that's not enough. You got a good life going for yourself. You got it real easy. I won't say real easy because I'm sure even having that type of money brings on more problems. But come on. You got it better than someone that's sitting down in the fucking gutter who don't have any money. And is starving. You know what I mean? Like, come on. So, as far as I'm concerned, he threw his life away. He was dead as soon as he was found guilty of those other murders, as far as I'm concerned. That's how I see it. But speaking of people who are guilty, and being guilty of just sucking, suck fucking ass. Philadelphia Union, let's have this talk, shall we? We need to have this fucking talk. Alright, so, for those who don't know, alright, say football, football's still local here though, football, okay? Last week, for those who did not see what happened, okay, the Philadelphia Union played New York City, right? They played them. And throughout this entire broadcast, alright, on ESPN of all places, the commentators are bagging on the Philadelphia Union. Absolutely destroying them. Talk about how bad they are, how they suck, how the fans should be upset with them. And I'm thinking to myself, the game is 0-0. It's literally, right now, no one has scored. Of course, New York was threatening every once in a while. They had most of the possession, but still, it's nothing, right? So, halftime comes, and the interviewer, the woman who's sitting on the sidelines is trying to get the interviews, she's talking to New York's, manager. And she says to the manager, how do you expect to go up more against this desperate Philadelphia Union team? Desperate! So I'm sitting here, I'm like, no, she did not just say that shit. It is 0-0, alright? Yes, New York had their chances to score, but they didn't fucking score, okay? There were a lot of mistakes made, but you can clean that up. Second half, you know what I mean? You make those adjustments. You have that talk. I don't understand where the word desperate comes in at. I don't. And the commentators are like, well, they started off in a hot, they were a hot streak, and they started off good last year, until they got to the playoffs and they fizzled out. Now, mind you, I talked about that last season. What did I say? I said that, if you're going to get on the bandwagon, you better do it now because they get ready to go to the playoffs. Pretty much, they burned themselves out in the playoffs and they lost. It was fine. But it was a better showing for the Philadelphia Union than what we've seen in a while. So you can't get on about last year. So, when you talk about the Philadelphia Union this year, and you say that they're desperate, and that the fans deserve better, and that this organization, the owners of the organization, need to get it together, And this is during halftime. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? All right, so it's the beginning of the MLS season. What's the problem? Relax, right? Second half comes. New York scores. Okay, still, not that big of a deal. It is a 1-0 game, right? And yet, once again, commentators are going on about how the fans should be upset. The fans, they should be ashamed of their team. They should be bagging on their team. The fans deserve better. Mind you, they're panning into the stands where the fans are just cheering for the team. The Sons of Ben are cheering for them. Everyone's cheering for them, rooting them on to see if they can come back from this. Nobody looks like they're in disgust. Nobody looks like they want to leave. No, it's a 1-0 game. The Union can come back from this. But if you listen to the commentary, it's a completely different thing. And then, the mother of all fuck-ups happened. And you know what? It's unacceptable what happened. You know what? Let's take a look at this 50-yard fucking kick that our goalkeeper can't even fucking stop.
Villa won that chase and goes for goal. Oh, I say he's done it! Well, I've seen it, but I don't believe it. David Villa just did something truly remarkable. He lobbed Andre Blake from fully 50 yards and has wrapped up the points for New York.
Fucking disgusting. Lack of effort, lack of skill. You will never, ever, and I mean ever, ever live that down. That is horrible. All right? Every time you get out there, hey man, remember when you did this? That's what should be done. You've got to be kidding me that you let this guy kick this. Just fucking chops it. Just taps it straight up and just takes a shot out because he's like, fuck it, I'll just take the shot. And you know what, that guy, that Villa, he was flopping all fucking game for New York. Was never called. And then you let this guy go on and kick a 50-yard fucking goal? You should be ashamed of yourself. That is the nail in the fucking coffin. So for everything that the commentator said the entire game, I'm like, nope, not true. Not gonna let you talk about my team like that. Nah, we here. We cheering. It's Union. We good. We gonna be fine. And then that shit happened. It was like, fuck it all. Fuck all of it. You know what? Commentators, you're absolutely right as far as I'm concerned. This team is a disgrace. You can't sit here and tell me that's okay. What the fuck is that goalkeeper thinking? I don't understand why you step out that far. Never live it down. The next day, I was still fucking salty over it. The next damn day. That don't happen. It ain't supposed to happen. But let's talk about things that are supposed to happen as well. Football overseas. Let's talk about Chelsea, Manchester United. We need to have this talk. First off, let me congratulate Manchester United fans, all right? Took you 3 chances to beat us, but you beat us. And actually, at this point, it was kind of in a pivotal time. So, you know what? Congratulations. Your team came out there, you played aggressive, you had possession, you did what you were supposed to do. Chelsea at one point looked like they didn't know what the fuck formation they were playing. The players are just lollygagging. Cahill, how do you let someone get behind you? How do you let that happen in the box? Again, Cahill, one of those guys where he can give you a brilliant game one game and then completely fuck up the next game. I don't understand it. This is the same Gary Cahill who scored on his own net not too long ago as well. Like I said, the guy, Cahill, don't get me wrong, good player. Some will say great player. Some will say he will be a legend in his tenure with Chelsea when it's over. But when you see that shit, it just doesn't sit well with me. Not at all. The team didn't come really to play as far as I'm concerned. I knew it was going to be a tough game because I talked about it with some of you fans on Twitter. I said it was going to be tougher than what I thought due to the fact that we're going into Wembley. So it's one of those things where, hey, it's something that you have to do. You know what I mean? So it was going to be a tough game. But I still had faith in Chelsea. You know what I mean? So, Chelsea loses. I don't think it's that big of a deal. As much as I wanted the sweep, we didn't get the sweep. And then some of these idiots on Twitter decided to come after me. Ha, ha, ha. You made the prediction that it was going to be 3-1, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I made the predictions that the previous 2 matchups that Chelsea would win, and they won. Now, where were you then? You weren't around. So you're gloating because you happen to avoid a season sweep. That's what you're gloating over, because you avoid the season sweep. Like I said, Man U fans, congratulations on winning. All right? You're now, what, 5th now instead of 6th? You're in 5th? And I know a lot of people are now trying to put a lot of pressure on Chelsea now and say, well, you know what? You used to be up by a lot of points. Now you're not up by a lot of points. Now you got to deal with Tottenham coming back. Let me tell you something, all right? Look at me, all right? I know I got the goofy hat on, but look at me. Ain't nobody fucking afraid of Tottenham. Ain't nobody afraid of those points coming up. You want to know why? Because I have full confidence in Chelsea that they will pick up after this. You notice after damn near every loss they've had this season, they pick themselves right back up and they play with no problem, spectacularly. Don't they get ready to play Tottenham? Was it the FA Cup soon? So we'll see that as well. But the fact is, I don't think that Chelsea, and y'all keep saying they're going to bottle the league, I don't think it's going to happen. Y'all want it to happen so fucking bad. That's what it is. So that you can laugh. You know what? You had your laughs last season when Chelsea played really bad, all right? Even when I was in London, when I was London 9, and I was waiting to get in line to London 9, I had guys laughing at me, joking at me, who worked, the fucking workers were fucking joking at me. Yeah, Chelsea's bad. You should be ashamed of yourself for cheering on Chelsea. And I'm like, but they won it all the last season before that. Why would I be ashamed of that? You know what I mean? Had people walking by, was just like, hey, Chelsea, ha ha ha, like just yeah. Because guess what? That's how it is. It's just rivalry. You know what I mean? And I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? But y'all want them to lose so fucking bad. So I put it like this: everybody who made fun of them last season, and then when we were up 10 points on the table, got kind of quiet, didn't they? Kind of quiet, didn't they? Yeah. Okay. So with that said, how about this? If they win it this season, all right, and they avoid bottling it, and they win it this season, what's your excuse going to be then? Huh? It's not, well, they were supposed to win. No. Remember, we got a new manager. We got all these pieces. Remember, the players, remember what Moreno said. The players said they didn't have any heart or any balls or whatever the case may be. So what will be your excuse this season if Chelsea wins, if they don't blow it? I'm wondering. Exactly. Shall we move on? Let's move on. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's not that big of a deal. Like I said, Man U, congratulations, your fans, congratulations. There's a lot of flopping in that game I absolutely hated between both teams. I came to see a glorious game that was hyped to the moon because this is rivalry, and I got shit. That's what I got. So both teams, as far as all that flopping and shit, that was bullshit. It was. A lot of players didn't get a lot of calls too, I noticed, but whatever the case may be, we'll just keep it moving, right? So let's talk about flopping, shall we? Let's talk about the Griffin Force flopping a fucking week, because you got to be kidding me. Rajon Rondo, you can't tell me that, no. You know what? Let's just look at it, because apparently he's just dead. He's dead on the fucking floor from barely being fucking touched.
Rondo might have betted him into that one. Let's see. Watch this. Rondo looks like he's dead.
It's absolutely fucking embarrassing, the shit that I've seen in the NBA. And to be honest, I know a lot of people are liking the NBA playoffs right now, but if you haven't been paying attention to NHL playoffs, it's actually been a lot better. We're seeing a lot of landslides at first. Guys are going up 3-0. Before you know it, tie game. The NHL has been so quick, and the way they're playing, it's not getting enough credit that it deserves. It's not. And I understand that people are going to be more privy to basketball because of the demographics. I get it, okay? But the NBA has kind of shot itself in the fucking foot at this point, all right? Especially with all the flopping. I cannot cheer on Boston, seeing all the flopping that they've been doing, okay? And I understand the Bulls are trying to give them a run for their money. I understand the Pacers are trying to give Cleveland a run for their money. That first game was very close, all right? And then the second game was just a joke. Lance Stevenson turned into Lance Stevenson and started doing all these parlor tricks. It wasn't fucking worth it. It wasn't. Golden State played Portland last night. And how y'all let Evan Turner just start deciding he wants to show up? Evan Turner starting to hit threes. What? When is this a real thing? Huh? I'm just wondering. OKC played, was it Houston last night? And that was a joke all of its own too. Enough flopping. I cannot stress this. I understand people will look at the stat line and say, Russell Westbrook had, 51 points? Russell Westbrook also tried to draw so many damn fouls and hurt his own team in the stretch at the end. If you didn't see it, he goes for the pump fake. Guy jumps. The guy goes to the side, so he's beside of him. Russell Westbrook literally jumps this way and then tries to chuck up the ball to get the foul. No, son, it's not happening. You shouldn't be jumping into people anyway trying to draw fouls. It's an absolute joke that this is the things that we're seeing. When he did that, he didn't get the call either. He didn't. It just looks embarrassing. That's what it is. However, I still feel as though Russell Westbrook is your MVP. I really feel as though it is. Now, put it like this. If he's not the MVP, I know a lot of people like to say James Harden or even LeBron James. Think about it. James Harden had, 35 points last night? That's nothing. LeBron James leads in different stats or whatever. Whatever, all right? But if LeBron James is hurt, his team still has a chance to win. If James Harden is hurt, his team still has a chance to win because of the pieces they have. Russell Westbrook gets hurt, they're screwed. Hell, when Westbrook is healthy, as you saw, they lost last night. So what? Houston's up 2 games to none? Goes to show you. But he's putting on these huge efforts of triple-doubles, all right? And like I said, 51 points is nothing to scoff at. You can't take that away from that man. Even in a loss, you can't take that away from him. Clearly, he is the MVP this season. Because without him, and that's how I judge MVPs, if guys get hurt and your teams can still carry on, then that goes to show you that you're really not that much of an MVP, as far as I'm concerned. I know people want to disagree with me with that. I understand that, okay? But when you have a guy like Russell Westbrook, if he gets hurt, that team isn't even making the fucking playoffs. Who they going to rely on? Oladipo? Is that who they going to rely on? That's who you going to... Okay. All right. Speaking of basketball, I want to go back local again. That's right. We need to have this talk. As you know, I usually have a problem with CBS Philly on Twitter and the way they conduct themselves. I'm sure anyone who follows me on Twitter, you know I always railroad them because some of them are just really disgusting pigs. They are. But the news that they reported not too long ago about the situation here in basketball really had me pissed off. So, let's watch what they report.
Legends have been immortalized on the city's newest mural. Take a look at the new artwork at Broad and Federal Streets. It highlights great moments in 76ers history, as well as the team's commitment to the community. The mural features all-time greats like Allen Bubbachuck Iverson, Wilt Dippy Chamberlain, Dr. J, and Sir Charles Barkley. And more, the design for the mural was inspired by Brendan Doherty, an 11-year-old student at Waldron Mercy Academy, who submitted the winning entry in the Sixers Mural Arts contest. Nicely done, man. Nicely done.
I find it kind of cool that an 11-year-old submitted this and won. You know what I mean? Submit the idea. That's the pros of this. Here's the cons. Because I've had this talk before with people here in the city trying to get this stuff together when it comes to renovations and stuff. Because I've always talked about this, how the walls are blank when you're near these basketball courts. Why isn't the Philadelphia Mural Arts program putting these type of basketball murals at basketball courts? You're missing your target demographic. That's what you're doing, all right? You say, well, it's for the community. Well, then you will put it where the community is. You put it at Broad and Federal, just like the other Dr. J piece that's over there, over there on Broad. If you go to the other side on Broad, oh my God, where is it? Past Spring Garden, all right? But nowhere near a basketball court. Why are you, I forgot. You keep putting these parts in places so that when you have tourists that come in, they see other parts of the city. So even if they slightly decide, they're on the edge or the skirts of near a ghetto, you say, oh, well, that looks nice. And that's all you do. It's cosmetic. So all the problems that's still within those bad neighborhoods, and when I mean problems, we're not talking drugs, we're not talking violence, no, we're talking about that. We're talking about the actual row homes that are in there, the faulty wiring, the fires all the time that is reported every damn night because of it. Like, these are problems that people don't talk about within the community. And like I said, if you're going to have these basketball murals, then you put them at basketball courts. You inspire those people to still go and play basketball. The community go out and outreach to play more basketball. These are the things that you're supposed to do, and yet you keep fucking up. Why? I'm wondering this. It's not that hard. It's not rocket science. Basketball should go with the basketball stuff. It makes the area look better. It attracts people that, hey, if there's a court that you renovated and it's still abandoned, and then the park thinks to itself, well, we renovated this, but nobody is coming. That would actually draw attention to people. I'm just saying it makes no sense. There rhyme or reason. And of course, I'm wondering I know CBS Philly, they're just trying to report the situation. But why isn't anyone asking exactly what I just said? Why? Why is it here? I understand you had to go through a contract and get a clearance. Why is it here instead of at a basketball place? I'm wondering that because if you go and you talk to the Parks and Rec people, I'm sure they would be all for that due to the fact that it would help them out. You understand that that type of advertising brings people in. The Parks and Recs also have programs, guess what, that some people would possibly have to pay for or whatever, but if they see that this stuff is free, even those programs that are free, and there's a lot of demand for it, then guess what? It'll have more support. I just don't understand this fucking city. I don't understand how ass backwards they can fucking be. And it's been going on for years upon fucking years. I'm sick of it. I just am. But yet, of course, it'll go ignored. So, let's move on to fighting, shall we? Yeah, let's move on to fighting. Let's talk about the UFC. That's right. Now, before I get started on some fights, let me talk about the actual media since we are on that. For those who did not see the UFC not too long ago, that was on Fox, alright? I don't understand how you put the fight in a small window, especially when a split decision, is being announced so that you can decide to show the fucking Powerball numbers. So a big decision, you decided to show the Powerball numbers. Even the audio was muted because they had to use it for the Powerball so that people can, hear the numbers. Are you fucking... You're kidding me, right, Fox? You're kidding me. See, it's one thing if you have this on FS1, but you had the entire thing on the actual Fox station so that you can make sure that everyone get their numbers, whatever. I'm here to watch the fight, just like everyone else. That's what you're broadcasting. I don't give a shit about those Powerball numbers. And I know some of you will say, well, fuck UFC, because if I'm winning the Powerball, I got millions of dollars. Well, then guess what? You would find all types of ways to find out if you won. You wouldn't be relying on late-ass TV to do those Powerball numbers. People also use the internet. People got apps for that shit. People going to make sure, if they're really playing, that they're going to make sure that, if they get the numbers or not. They're not waiting for fucking some broadcast to be done. They're not waiting for that. All right? But speaking of the UFC, all right, I had to talk about one fight in particular. I should actually talk about two fights. Because Rose versus the Karate Hottie or whatever was a really good fight. It was an amazing fight. Both girls showed a lot of grit. However, the takedowns, all right, the takedowns were pretty, like I played this. The defense of takedowns, especially when being taken, the back being taken, was not technically good. It wasn't, all right? However, this fight was really well done. The women put on a great display of fighting, and I have to give them credit. I have to. All right, even though I did not like the way defending the back was just no, not at all. I just didn't like that at all. All right, because anyone who knows when someone gets their their hooks in, they dig your hooks in, and they're behind you, and you're defending the back. The number one thing you want to do is try and turn and put your back to the mat. And then, of course, that person is going to go and mount you, full mount you, and it's a bad situation, but it's a better situation than what you were in. And it happened a couple times where it actually did work, where the girl would put her back to the mat, and then, it would get a full mount. But as it happened, it was just like, dude, you got to be faster about that. You have to be. You know what I mean? However, Demetrius Johnson, the last one I really want to talk about is Demetrius Johnson versus his opponent. And we already knew this was going to be a run-through. And I don't want to disrespect his opponent that way because, he's an elite fighter. He's ranked number 3. You got to give him his credit for even, like I said, world-class fighter. So I don't want to disrespect him too much, you know what I mean? But this was a run-through. You can tell just by the training programs that Demetrius Johnson was way too much faster. He knew how to strike on his angles. You knew how this was going to end. The fight in general is not what I want to talk about. It's the interview after the fight, okay? Demetrius Johnson says the next time he comes into this fight, because as you know, he has defended his title multiple times, okay? And he is up there now with the tied record with the greats of defending the title, holding it for that long. He says he wants what? 6, 7 figures? 7 figures, I believe it was. Give that man his money. Give that man his money. I say that due to the fact that you got guys like Conor McGregor who are making this type of money, who aren't even going or even defending these titles. I understand Conor, he's great at talking. He's great at talking up the fight. He acts like a wild man, whatever. I get it. It's nice. It's cool. It's fun to watch. It's entertaining. But when he's making more money than a Demetrius Johnson, all right, per fight, damn near per fight, that's absolutely ridiculous. And Demetrius Johnson has been there for years defending that title. Give that man his money. He has earned it. You can't sit here and tell me he hasn't. And he called Dana White out on it too. He said, the next time I come in here, he said, Dana White, I want 7 figures. The next time I want to fight, it's got to be 7 figures. I don't blame him. Now, of course, some people are going to say, well, who is he going to fight? Because the division has pretty much been washed. They even had an Ultimate Fighter, special, just to find somebody to fight him. That's not his problem. If he's just that good, and the rest of the playing field is just there, and these guys are elite fighters. You can't knock these guys, just out the box and just dismiss them. These are elite fighters in the UFC. They are the best of the best. It's just Demetrius Johnson is just that much better. Can't knock him down. But the fact is, he deserves his money. And it's not up to him on who he fights when it comes to trying to find better competition. That's the promoter's job. That's his team's job as well, not him. They tell him who he's going to fight. They promote whatever. And he says, okay, let's go. That's it. So give that man his money. He absolutely deserves it. Anyways, I'm done. I'm just beyond everything that has happened this week with sports. And it's hard to watch. It really is. Anyways, I will talk to y'all then. Y'all be safe. Until next time, I'm out.